There is one move in chess that is more spectacular, more insane, and rarer than any other chess move. It is under promotion to a bishop. Now, under promotion happens in chess. There are times when promoting to a queen is not the right move. Maybe you need a knight because of that special hoppy ability that no other piece has. That definitely happens. There are times when promoting to a queen will create stalemate, and so you need to promote to the next strongest piece, the rook. That happens, for example, in the most famous chess study ever, the Saavedra study. But why would you ever need to under promote to a bishop and not a rook or a knight? Well, we have 5 examples right here that show spectacular examples from real games where under promoting to a bishop was the spectacular winning move. Our first example comes from the Rapid Chess Championship in a recent game that had live reactions from stunned commentators. Here, Grandmaster David Antonguijaro, one of the strongest players from Spain, has the white pieces and desperately needs a draw to advance in this knockout format. Grandmaster Kovalev has the black pieces and looks like he's about to get that win as he has 2 pawns nearing promotion. However, Anton plays the very tricky and definitely best knight to f1. And in this position, with seconds on the clock, Kovalev plays d1 equals queen. Stalemate on the board, Anton gets his draw, advances, and the commentators and crowd are stunned.
Knight back to f1. Amazing. Oh my god, you have to. Oh, stalemate! You should have made a bishop. You could have flagged him with a bishop.
Oh my
Wait.
gosh.
Promoting to a rook was also going to be stalemate because both moves pin the knight to the king and there's simply no move for white. The right move here was to under promote to a bishop. So spectacular here. Now, in this position, white's knight is basically getting trapped and black wins relatively easily with the 2 bishops. Now, the knight can pick off a pawn. Knight takes h2, picking off the only pawn. But then after king g3, knight f1, king back to f2, the knight can only go to h2 and bishop e3 is a zugzwang. In this position, the king cannot move and the knight has no safe move. The knight is falling and black easily wins. Now, black can under promote to a knight here, and the table bases do tell us that is a win as well, but it is very, very difficult. Not a simple position in which to trap the knight. It takes something like 40 moves to prove the win with a table base. So really, practically speaking, promoting to a bishop is the only clear winning move. This example might be the most famous under promotion. In this position, white is to play, and if white promotes to the queen or to the rook, there is the great trick, queen to f7 check. The queen must capture, and we have stalemate as the queen or the rook controls the last rank, and we have a pin here on that g7 pawn. Of course, the king is trapped. And backing up, if white promotes to a knight here, then there is a prolonged analysis that shows that the knight is not able to get out of the corner. Of course, the white queen wants to help, but the white queen also needs to stop queen f7 checkmate. So it seems there is no way to make progress with the knight trapped on the edge just like this. So the only winning move proves to be a8 equals the classic bishop. Now there is no stalemate. The bishop is headed to d5 and white wins in very, very short order. Our next example is from the Soviet Championship of 1983. It is black to play in the game Holmov vs. Elvest, and black is ready to promote as the pawns are advancing in this direction. But what do you promote to? If you promote to a queen, then white has rook to a8 check. The queen captures, and this is the stalemate. But if you back up and promote to a rook, then you actually fare worse, because after promoting to a rook, when we get the check, the king has to move, white promotes and mates in short order. Promoting to a knight also allows the check and promotion. So the only move is to promote to the bishop. Again, the spectacular under promotion. The bishop controls the square without allowing any stalemate tricks, so black is basically up a bishop and went on to win this game. This next example is even more recent than the Rapid Chess Championship example I showed earlier. This game is from the Reykjavik Open this year, 2022. Yes, the year 2022 seems to be the year of the bishop under promotion. Here, Grandmaster Hjartarson with the white pieces seemed to miss what looked to be a fairly direct winning effort, as pointed out on Twitter. White can play the move queen to f7 check, which is very pretty, but not too difficult to calculate, right? After queen f7 check, we have knight takes, pawn takes with a fork right here. The king cannot move over to f8 because after king f8, you simply have knight to g6, and the queen must sacrifice itself for the knight. Otherwise, it would be checkmate. However, after pawn takes f7 check, there is king h7. This must have been seen by both players, and they decided that this was not winning because if white captures here and promotes to a queen, then black has queen g2 or queen to h1, and giving up the queen creates stalemate, a really incredible resource. But backing up, in this position, after king h7, you can't promote to a rook or a knight because then you will leave this rook on d7 hanging. But you can promote to the bishop. Once again, another brilliant bishop under promotion. Now the rook is defended, critical, and we have the idea simply of bishop to g6 and mates along the back rank, and we are also just winning on material. Beautiful, spectacular, and again, an incredibly recent example. Our examples so far have not been too difficult to calculate. Unique, special, gorgeous positions, but not too difficult to calculate. But this example from the Soviet Union in 1938 between Sokolsky and Ravinsky is very, very complicated. Computer analysis really won't help you here. And there are just pages and pages to show that in this position, only one move wins for white. Now, as you may suspect, it is not promoting here to a queen because after promoting to a queen, black has a rampaging rook. The rook will force white to capture it. And eventually, when white does capture it, it will be stalemate here because the bishop is pinned and the pawns are blocked and the king has no move. Now, we have the same resource if white promotes to a rook. Again, it will be stalemate. And also, a knight is not good enough. Here, rook c8 traps the knight, and if white tries to defend the knight with rook a6, then you just take it, and rook takes a8 is again stalemate. So, the only good under promotion here that does not create these stalemates is a8 equals bishop, as you might have guessed. However, in this position, white wins patiently by slowly progressing with the b pawn, and there's no way to ultimately create stalemate. The big question is, does white have to promote here? I mean, this still requires some effort to win. Could you instead here just play a move like pawn to b4 and eventually you can promote? Well, again, there are pages and pages of analysis, and we are not going to unpack all of it, but the analysis does show that in this position, black is able to sit tight, and the idea of continuing to sacrifice the rook if white promotes to a queen or a rook is so powerful that there is no way to ultimately win for white. The stalemates do save the day, and so as a result, white does need to commit to the under promotion to a bishop. Each of the 5 examples I've shown thus far do come from real games, but I have one bonus example, my personal favorite chess study ever. This is a study by Deller in 1921, and even though it is a chess study, it could definitely come from a real game. You would never know that this was a chess study just by looking at this position. It's an entirely feasible bishop endgame. Now here, white cannot dilly-dally, so you must push the pawn to d7, and hey, you're ready to promote on the next turn, so you're just winning, right? Well, it's not so simple because of bishop e8. Absolutely the best defense and a very, very good try. Now, here, of course, you can't capture the bishop because having only a bishop remaining isn't enough to win the game, and promoting to a queen or a rook creates immediate stalemate with the white bishop cutting off the king's move and the queen, of course, pinning the bishop. So, backing up, what about promoting to a knight in this position? Well, that's not good enough because there is one move and only one move that saves black. The bishop is almost trapped. For example, you cannot go bishop h5 because after knight e6 check, wherever the king moves, you have either a fork on g7 if you go to e8, or a discovery after king g8, knight f4 check. You win the bishop, and you do have to show your bishop and knight checkmating technique, but white is winning. However, after promoting to a knight, there is bishop a4 running to the edge of the board. The bishop cannot now be picked off, and white is not able to win this position with bishop and knight versus bishop. So you must play d8 equals bishop. And here there are just the two bishops remaining against the one bishop. And that should not normally win, but here there are checkmates in the air. It's a really beautiful, pure two bishops versus one bishop position. And now, of course, the black bishop needs to move. If you go bishop to a4, bishop f7. So quiet, so deadly. The black bishop moves, and then you have bishop to e7, checkmate. Backing up, what if the bishop doesn't go to a4 and instead tries to go over to h5? After bishop to h5, you have bishop e7 check, and then the king steps over, and you have bishop to b5. A very different, also beautiful checkmate. Everything works together perfectly. I hope you like this study because, again, it is my favorite chess study of all time. It's so simple, so efficient, so perfect. Well, here are some incredible examples of bishop under promotion. You may have noticed a theme. Yes, the only reason that I know of that it would only be correct to promote to a bishop in a position is because of stalemate. If anyone knows of any reason you would ever promote to a bishop that is not stalemate related, I would love to see it. If you want to see more of the great videos we post here at Chess.com, simply click on the playlist that is popping up on your screen.